I love games. Jess, which were your favourite? Here's a few.
Boggle.
Boggle.
Cards.
Cards. Dingbats.
Monopoly.
Monopoly.
Monopoly was
That's
my favourite game.
Yeah. Did you learn anything from playing games?
And drafts. Learn how to negotiate.
Okay. We used to play a lot of games as a family thing, but forgive me because I can't remember, but we didn't really have tons of money at the time, and so although I had a lot of personal games, we couldn't really buy any kind of like new ones. So we used to actually create our own games, and this is something that you can do very easily. There's a lot of advantages to creating your own games rather than just buying the ones from the shops. So whether you have money or no money at all, creating your own games is fantastic. And we could do what we used to do is we used to just get a piece of paper, something like this, blank piece of paper, and we used to create games on the paper itself. And what I used to do was I used to go over to the children when they were bored. Even if they liked one of these games, they used to get bored with it, yes?
Yeah.
After a while. So I would show them how to create their own games. And the only cost involved are obviously pens and a dice, if you need a dice. And some pens, or you don't need colour pens, but I'm using the colour pens actually for the video to show differences. And a straight game is a dice game. Yeah, we've all played dice games like Snakes and Ladders, and so on. And so what I would do is just make up a game. So just give me the name of an animal.
I was gonna say snowman because I can see
Okay,
one.
so just say she said snowman. It doesn't really matter. Wow, great snowman. And then I'd say I'm going to draw a game called The Snowman Goes Home, right? And what I would do is I would actually draw something, just a big squiggle, something like that, and then I would have another squiggle that goes round on the track, and over here we would draw the snowman. So I can't draw, but my children didn't really know that at the time, so that would be my snowman, yes. And go home, so this is the home. If I was a bit more creative, I would probably do a different kind of home for a snowman. It might be an igloo or Santa Claus if I was teaching them about Santa Claus. Okay, so there we've got the track, and then you would just treat it like a standard board game. You divide it into squares, and just for the sake of the video, I won't draw so many squares. Maybe I'll get bigger here now, but you get the idea. And so that would be home, and then you would number them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
What was the benefit of numbering them?
The benefit of numbering them is if you're playing with dice, and then you can say, okay, say you're on square 3, and you get 5, well, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you know 3 plus 5 is 8. So there's kind of like, it wasn't a deliberate thing, but the kids would learn basic mathematics, arithmetic, because they'd have to go backwards and go forwards. So we've got this track here, and obviously if they threw a 3 they'd go on and so on. Now we play Snakes and Ladders, and we know if you go to the bottom of a ladder you can go up, and if you go to the snake you go down. So again you could put in these squares forfeits. So for example, if they step on number 5, maybe there's a snowmobile, yes, and you know, snowmobile plus 3. That means that they would be able to go forward 3 squares. Maybe over on square 9, they would meet, the snowman might meet a hairdryer. Okay? So a mad hairdryer. And so we would say mad hairdryer -2, go back 2 squares, yeah? So we would have these little things in the game. Now, that they would play it, and you know, after a while they've played it and they've had fun depending on their age, yeah? The younger they are, the longer they'll play it. But the main thing for this was to actually tear that one off and have the children create their own games out of these bits of paper. I mean, there's lots of other games you can play that are well known. For example, there's squares, and we can put like little dots, and they have to create squares out of it on the games. And there's obviously noughts and crosses and so on. These are all paper games. But the nicest thing for them was to create their own game. Now, the benefit of that, apart from, as you mentioned just now, teaching basic arithmetic, was to help them be creative. So for example, they might say, "Oh, I don't know what to do." I say, "Well, why not have aliens and flying saucers?" And they would make it up, and they would create the different squares. They might come and ask me how to spell words and whatever. And that would take, what, 2 or 3 hours to make your own game, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually preferred making the game to playing it.
Yes. And then they would take it to their friends, I think, and play their games with their friends. So that was pretty awesome. Were there any other things that we used to do with bits of paper?
Yeah, I remember I really liked puzzle books, but I'd go through them so quickly, and like Dad said, we didn't have much money, so they couldn't buy me all these puzzle books, so Dad decided to make me one, which was really cool. So inside it had word searches, you did like the Tangle maps, some crosswords and other things like that, and eventually he showed me and Nathan how to do it, so we made them for each other.
So to make a little game, so a game booklet, again, a very simple thing to do, yes, is to just take this is all rough paper, by the way, because I love having rough paper. And I've got this paper, and here we go. I've folded it into this amount, and then I'm going to do the same here with this one. And here we go. So we've got a game which is several pages now. I wouldn't go more than this because it would hurt my creativity. And right at the beginning I would have some kind of picture. And since we just did something about snowmen, I'll just draw a snowman. Snowman game book for Jess. So that would be the cover, something like this. Now, in the actual booklet itself, we would have the puzzles, and the puzzles are very, very easy to create kind of puzzles. So you know, we have word searches, we have, as Jessica said, string components, and what I'll do is I'll just show you how to create a very quick word game. So again, think of the vocabulary of your child, and or just have the names. So my name's Ben, and I'll create a word search with Ben, and Jessica's there, Jess. So here's Jess, and Nathan, who likes to be called Nate. So here's Ben, Jess, Nate, and there's a J, and then I just fill in the letters there: X, Y, Q, U, R, I, and then the what they had to do was find the names. So here's Jess, here's Nate, and here's Ben across. All right, so that was one game. Another game is like I like frogs, or so I might draw 3 little frogs. One frog, and I couldn't draw, but my kids like that. And I might have the frogs find a pond. Another Another puzzle, as Jess mentioned, was like a stringy, froggy gets home puzzle or a stringy game. So here I've drawn 3 little frogs, and underneath I could have a pond. So just a pond. Here's another pond. And here's frog A, frog B, frog C, and pond 1, pond 2, and pond 3. Right? So that's what they are. Now, with this game, they would have to get to their own pond, but we don't know which pond each frog goes to. So you would just draw stringy blah 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 blah. Let's put A to number 3, and B we would do a different Y to number, in this case 2, but you can do another one over here to number 1. I think it was probably better to have it different colours so they can follow it and see. Well, no, not different. It has to be the same colour. That's crazy. So that way it all gets mixed up, and then they can follow, and then they can put the answer at the end of the string game. So there's all sorts of things you can have. You can also have little dot to dots. Yeah. So and they follow the dots, and we give it numbers, and this could be a house. We can also have. Not just dot to dots, but crosswords. So again, you just think of the words that you want in your crossword. Yeah, and then you create some clues. You can have colour pictures, so you can actually draw a house and then just ask them to colour it, and so on. So make up your own games, and right at the end you can end it with XYZ, this booklet, or have the answers. Actually, no, I didn't have the answers, so you have to come to me for it. Anyway, so this is how you would create a little puzzle book. If you've enjoyed watching this video, please do say so on the comments below, and even if you don't enjoy the video, also write the comments and just say some of the things that you would have done and you did to help your kids become